If you are bored and have nothing to do, it's time for a story between me and you. Sit down or lie down or pull up a chair. Inside my head is the story I'll share. Hello! Today I'm going to tell you a story about Ricky the Dragon and his good friend Agatha. And they're going to go on a camping trip. So Ricky flew across the ocean and knocked on Agatha's door. She lived in a house on a hill. It was a rickety old house. Agatha opened the door. "Hi, Ricky," she said. "I'm so excited. I'm so excited that you're coming on this trip with me camping. I know you've never been before. And Tony and Susan, my grandchildren, they're coming too. And they're bringing their dog Bear. He's black and he's got lots of fur on him. He's going to join us." So Ricky said, "I am very, very excited to go." Now, they were going camping, but they weren't going to be using a tent. I want to show you something. This is a picture that I drew, and this is a camper. You see there's a door there and a window, and on the top of it is a piece, and out of that piece there actually comes out a tent that's attached to it. So Agatha was driving her Jeep, and the kids jumped in, and Ricky flew above them, and off they went. Once they got to their provincial park, they found the spot where they were going to be camping. It was becoming later in the evening when they got there. So they decided the first thing that they wanted to do, they were all hungry, was they were going to make a campfire, which they did. So they lit this little campfire. And then Agatha said, "Well, I brought some hot dogs for you to have, and then I thought we could finish with some s'mores." Now, some of you children will know what s'mores are, and I know you know what hot dogs are. But s'mores are chocolate with marshmallows and crackers. So there's a cracker on the top and the cracker on the bottom, and right in the middle you put your marshmallow and your chocolate. But the key is you want to get a stick, put your marshmallow on the end of the stick, and that's exactly what they did. And the marshmallow became a nice golden color, but also became mushy and very, very soft and sticky. And they put that in between the two crackers, and they squeezed the crackers down, and then they ate these delicious marshmallow chocolate s'mores. And I'm sure some of you friends have had them before too. They had the hot dogs first, and then they had their s'mores. And then the exciting thing was getting the tent on the side of the camper ready with their sleeping bags. They were quite tired because they had a long journey. But Ricky the Dragon said, "Well, I can't fit in that tent, and I certainly can't fit in the camper. It's too small. So I'm going to go," and he pointed up with his talon, that's his nail. He said, "I'm going up there." And he flew up, and he found a really big branch on the tree. And that was where he was going to sleep. And he couldn't wait for the next day because they were going to go to the beach. It was a beach with white sand. So he went up on the branch, and they were down in the tent part of the camper in their sleeping bags, when all of a sudden they heard a noise. Oh my gosh! Ricky opened one eye, and then he opened the other, and he looked down. He said, "Oh, there's a little animal down there. It looks like a doe, a reindeer doe." So what they did was Agatha and the children got out of the tent, and they went over, and the little doe was crying. He was making a noise. I can't even think what a doe's noise would make. I think they kind of make a sort of a screeching sound. "Well," said Agatha, "we're going to have to find this poor little doe's mother. We're going to have to go on a search." So she rummaged around in the camper, and she found some flashlights. One for Susan, one for Tony, one for herself. But Ricky didn't need one. He was going to fly up above the trees and see if he could find the doe's mother. And he looked down. He had really, really good eyes. He had like X-ray eyes, fantastic eyes. He didn't have to wear glasses like I do. And as he was flying, he heard a noise, like a rustling noise. And he said, "Agatha, Tony, Susan, Bear," that's Bear the dog, "this way." They went running through the trees, and there they found the doe's mother, and she was in a pit, like a deep pit. Oh my gosh! And she didn't look very happy. She looked like she was very sad because she'd lost her little baby. And they had the baby with them. Agatha was carrying the baby in one arm and holding the flashlight in the other. All right, everybody, she said, let's get this mother out of here. And they all pulled and they pulled and they pulled the mother right out of the hole. And she went straight to her baby and gave their baby a good nuzzle and a lick on the head. And the baby nuzzled right up to his mother, and he stopped crying. He was very happy. They watched them wander off through the trees, and then they made their way back to the campsite. And they said, okay, let's get a good night's sleep. So they had a good night's sleep in their sleeping bags. Agatha, Tony, Susan, and Bear. Bear sort of stretched out and lay right beside them. And they had a good sleep. And Ricky the dragon went back up to the big branch in the tree and fell asleep up there. And the next morning when they got up, they were very hungry again. Sometimes when you're out in the fresh air, you get very hungry. And so for breakfast, Agatha made some nice scrambled eggs. And on the fire, she scrambled the eggs in a pan. And they had that. She had coffee, and the rest of them had juice. And then off they went to the beach. The beach was beautiful, white sand. And the children had brought their pails and their spades to make so that they could dig in the sand. They wanted to make sand castles. And at one time they decided that they wanted Ricky. You know what they did to him? They got him in the sand and they covered him completely in wet sand. And the only thing that was coming out of the sand was his head. He couldn't move. The children thought it was very funny, and Agatha took a picture. Click, click. Okay, she didn't take a picture with a camera. She decided to take a picture with her telephone. Click, and she did. Then they all went in the water, and they were splashing around. And then Ricky said, hang on, what about me? I'm lying in the sand here. Guys, come and help me get out of here. I want to swim too. The children were laughing. They ran back to him, and they dug all the sand off of him with their hands, and he got out and he flew down to the water. He was a really good swimmer. He went in and swam, and the children were swimming because they took swimming lessons. And Bear didn't like the water. He put one paw in the water and he ran back up to the beach where Agatha was sitting in her deck chair. She had on a big floppy hat and sunglasses, and she was waving at them. She said, I'll be down there in a minute, guys. She was laughing. She just wanted to read a really good book and get some rest. But she watched them very carefully because she knew that she wanted to make sure that they were all safe. And they were, and they had a fantastic time. And they came back later in the day to the campsite. And they stayed at the campsite for 2 days. And then they were going to head back home. And they had a wonderful time. And I'm wondering about some of you friends, what things you're doing now. Summer's coming, and maybe you'll be going on a camping trip. Maybe you'll be going swimming. Who knows what you'll be doing? Maybe you'll see a deer. Anyway, I hope you're all okay, and I miss you, and I hope to see you again soon. So until next time, when I see you and I tell you another story out of my head. Bye-bye, everybody. Stay safe.